what better segue to Eliot Fisk, who is one of this country's leading classical guitarists and has been for a good long time, and not only has a prize named after him, but continues to be just one of the real epitomes, one of the paragons of classical guitar here in America, despite the fact that he spends a good deal of his time abroad. We are very fortunate to have him here with us this evening. Please welcome Eliot Fisk. Eliot, you put a group of classical guitarists together anywhere in the world, and the shadow of Segovia looms large. Now, we've heard some of his music.
Well, I don't think of it as a shadow.
All right.
I think of it as a benediction.
Okay.
A blessing.
Well, I mean, you were his last direct pupil. Towards the end of his career, how active was he in commissioning works and still giving new performances? I mean, he was losing his sight by the end, right?
Yeah, but certainly not his mind. I mean,
yeah.
he was remarkable. What I loved about Segovia, really, when I met him, I was 19 and he was 81. So our ages added up to 100. And I thought it was pretty remarkable that, someone of his eminence, because you really can't imagine how eminent Segovia was for the classical guitar what Einstein was for physics. I mean, so for a young kid, to meet his idol, which happened right here, 69th and Madison, Westbury Hotel. I was introduced to Segovia by Rose Augustine and Martha Nelson, the late Martha Nelson, who was secretary of the Guitar Society here for many years. And we went up to the 10th floor of the Westbury at the end, I think it was room 1012, got off the elevator, walked down, knock on the door, there's Segovia answering the door. Well, you can imagine that was an amazing experience for me. And really, he was a great model because, he loved the guitar, he loved music, and he was still, letting some young kid into his life at the age of 81. And really, considering how busy he was, showed a great deal of attention and care and kindness. I still have a lot of letters that he wrote to me. Still have them. He wrote back. Why would he write back to me? But he did. That was a really great thing.
Well, I mean, he was so clearly passionate about the music that I'm sure he wouldn't just take on a pupil on a whim and do a half-assed job of it, basically.
Well,
so that's probably why you got all those letters.
Well,
as the French say.
I think that, Segovia was, of course, a great intellect, but also someone who had that kind of Andalusian instinct, and he and I, from the minute we met, I mean, we just sort of, clicked like this. We understood each other. Perhaps there must be some reason for it because, I'm the only musician in the history of my entire family, as far as anybody can tell, on any side, anywhere. So why should some 7-year-old American kid fall in love with the sound of Segovia's guitar? But that's what happened.
Yeah. Now, one of the great things about Segovia was it was a real blossoming of the repertoire for the guitar, and that's something that you seem to have taken to heart.
Well, sure, Segovia, and then, of course, Julian Bream was a great inspiration to all of us. I think also because of each of them in very different ways had unbelievable, unquestionable integrity. They were concerned about art and the tradition of art and the survival of music and standards of music, and there was an ethic, about making music, which I think is really a very good thing for us to think about these days because, the commercial aspect and the selling aspect of music has, I think, sometimes invaded us in a sort of cancerous way. So, just my own personal opinion. Not always, but some places, and so a festival like this, of course, being a wonderful exception that we can come together and really as a kind of a family, and try to serve what Schubert called die holde Kunst, the noble art. Noble art, die holde Kunst. Yeah.
So, getting back to, the idea of the expansive view of the repertoire, works for guitar, new works for guitar, transcriptions for the guitar, you do all of that.
Well, I try to, yes.
Yeah. So with this set, within a relatively brief time period, we're going to get a transcription of Paganini.
Yeah, I guess that's right. You know, I've been sort of bopping in and out of the concerts today. You know, trying to prepare a little bit myself and listen and enjoy my colleagues. And it's such a stunning array of talent and variety here. You know, you say, well, Jesus, what can I offer? And I've been debating, you know, backstage with Pepe, talking, you know, and then listening to Pepe play flamenco, you know, and just chatting and saying, well, Jesus, what am I going to play? So I'm I'm fairly sure what I'm going to play, but not totally. But I did have a discussion with David Spellman some months ago, you know, when he was putting this together, and we did come up with a list of pieces. I can tell you what the latest version is, if you'd like.
That would be good, because, you know, my handwriting is such scrawl that it's hard for me to read it, and I don't want to have to do that if you're going to just tell me, nah, I decided against all that.
Well, here's what I'm planning to play. I'm going to start with 3 pieces by Regino Sainz de la Mata, who is the guitarist to whom Rodrigo dedicated the famous Aranjuez concerto. They would be El Vito, Petenera, and Zapateado. Then I will play the famous Danza Española No. 5 by Granados. Then I will do an Ernesto Halfter sandwich. Ernesto Halfter was the favorite disciple of Manuel de Falla, someone whom I met through Segovia, actually, Ernesto. So there would be the...
Halfter or de Falla?
Halfter I
Halfter.
met. No, I didn't have
I'd
have the pleasure of meeting de Falla, but I know some of his family members in Granada, but I don't know Falla. Never met Falla, of course, too young. So there would be Albéniz, Halfter, Albéniz, then the famous Homenaje of Falla, and then the Paganini Caprice.
Okay.
If
Bears
I can
very
remember.
little resemblance to what I think I wrote down, but it sounds good to me. So, ladies and gentlemen, Eliot Fisk.